Welcome to another edition of the Resilient Living Podcast, a show dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. I wish I had the time to do this. I wish I had the time to do that. Where is life going? When you get older, it's like a year just flies right by you. It's just like, zing! What? That happened? What is happening here? What's going on? And in my life, I look at things that I want to achieve, things I want to do, and then it started to occur to me, I'm like, I don't really have that much time. I take one day off a week, guys, on Saturdays, and that's like my barbecue Saturday. That's when I relax with my kids, and actually, I do cooking and some cleaning, but I just take one day off to color and coloring books, with my daughter and do whatever that I please. But in a lot of the weeks, just even living tiny, I live tiny, guys, and I just watch my day just go with chores, just go whoosh, right on by. Sunday, right on by, man, until I started getting a grasp on things and starting to organize my life a little bit to get more free time. Now, instead of a whole entire day of chores and things like that, I've limited it down, or got it down, whittled, I'd like to say, down to half a day. I would say about 5 hours or so. And what I notice is the more and more I introduce things, and I've lost things in my life, that they give or take like a bank. Just like the last show we did, it's a gas tank, your time. And there's things that you have to keep filling up. And next thing you know, your personal gas tank is empty. I want to get more of it. And I'm sure you do too. So let's jump in on just how to do that. So time and energy audits. That's the thing I look at on my time off. I have an overactive mind. I think it never really stops. And I'm always studying and observing everything. And one thing I observed in my life, as I said, I've lost some things in my life. I started to notice, wow, I lost this thing in my life, but now I have all this extra time. I want to jump my notes here. I always write stuff down for you, and it's why I don't have a pet. And I miss my pet dearly. I loved my dog. My dog was pretty much just like my children, like my life. It's over 2 years later, and just the other day, I was like, oh my goodness, I miss her. But I have a special needs kid, and I have to tend to her and take care of her. Well, when my dog started to get old, I had to tend to her too, and it was a lot of work. We were talking about personal time. And after my dog passed away, I'm the type of person that goes from start to finish. Like there's no, when she's ready to pass, she's ready to pass. I know that might be some hard stuff for people to listen to, but I nursed her. It wasn't like, oh, we're just going to go, euthanize or something like that. I'm like, no, when she is ready, when she cannot walk and she's not happy anymore, then that would be the time. And she ended up passing away through a surgery. I still tried to help her, and it wasn't there. It wasn't time, unfortunately. But when I started to look at my dog later on, of course, after I healed up some, I started to do an audit on it. I was like, wow, I have a lot more time. And after the moping and crying, but one thing I noticed was in an audit when you have a dog is like you need to walk them. If you're a good parent, like me, pet parent, you should walk a dog in the morning. You should walk them in the evening. If you live in an apartment or tiny house living like I do, and they don't have a place to roam around, they need to walk, man. They're pack animals. So 30 minutes in the morning, that was just 15 minutes. I would just put on her leash. We'd go walking down the road. And for 15 minutes, my alarm would go off. I'd know when I get to get back to my house. And then I'd bring her back, and I'd get in my truck, and I'd drive to work. Of course, this isn't even feeding, right? And this is until you automate and you start getting things into your life, which is really good. That buys you a lot of time. But what I mean by automate, we'll just jump on that, is one of those automatic water feeders for dogs, right? Instead of filling up the bowl every single day, every time she licks, it's got this big old 3-gallon tank, and it bloop, 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 fills up the bowl. One less thing you got to do, right? And I want to talk about that for a second. People may think, and I've been gawked at before and laughed at, like, oh my God, you're going to dissect everything. But as we start to look at 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes here, it's the little ones, just like the doggy bowl. 5 minutes every single day to actually fill that thing up, position it. I have a little reservoir so the ants don't get in it. 5 minutes a day. We start adding that up. 5 minutes times 5 is 25 minutes. I'm pretty darn sure that I had to fill it up on Saturday, Sunday too, but just to keep even numbers, let's just say that it was 30 minutes. That's a half hour per week. Now we start to add it up to say per month. That is 2 hours in a month that I saved just by automating my dog's drinking water. So you start to see these patterns now where it's like, remember I said I take my they're called my barbecue Saturdays, right? I'm getting 2 hours a month beyond my Saturdays off, where let's just say I wanted to read once a month, or let's just say I wanted to go running at the beach or something. I don't know. Maybe I just want to go drive to the beach and go fishing for an hour. That gives me that time because I automated that. Those are things that absolutely need to happen. My dog needs water, otherwise she would die, right? If I still had a dog. And then we start looking at walking. Remember we said 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening. That's an hour a day, right? Times 7. That's 7 hours a week. That's almost a full working day that I devoted happily, heartfully, completely, 100% to my dog. But that's the reason I don't have a pet anymore now, is that I need to give a lot of focus to myself, mainly to my special needs kid. So the significance of this I want to bring out to you guys is to look at these energy audits and things like that. Yes, they're not sexy. Yes, they're not cool. They take a little bit of work. But if you initially do this, you start to free up time. It's the reverse now. It's because you didn't put in the work that you have no idea where your time is going. It's just spreading out, just like your income, your expenses and all that, your variables and fixed expenses on your money. You don't manage your money. You have no idea what's going on. And I meet so many people like this. But it's the exact same thing when we look at our time. A lot of people don't know where their time is going. Of course you do. You get so stressed out where it's like, you know what? I'm not even going to do the dishes right now. And I still do that. I did that last week. It was horrible. My sink was full of dishes. There was gnats in there and everything. It was gross. But I was tired and I was overworked. And I was like, what did I say? I just need some time off. But in life, like your pet, like your kids, like your health, like your money, like the dishes, there's no magic fairy going to come in and fix those things. It's all up to you. I think we're kind of on like this lifestyle design kick thing here for the past couple of days. But yeah, I want you guys understand to see how that goes. And it's not until you go wash those dishes. Whereas if you would have washed the dishes every day, right, it would have taken you like 10 minutes. Now you're like going for like a 20, 30 minute dishwashing spree here, because you just let it compile up. And I think that that's what happens in life. What this has to do with living a resilient life is that we want more time. We want to be more productive. But one of the things I found was that I have a lot of things that I am into right now. This podcast, and I've got another show that I'm working on. I've got my gardening YouTube channel that I'm looking to work on. I run my own construction business. I'm everywhere. I'm a single father. I've got to change diapers. I got a meal plan and all these things. One thing I notice is like on my Sundays is I start to think I've got so much going on. I want to start designing my new businesses, but I know that I have the dishes, the things I just spoke to you about. I know that I have the laundry. So as my mind starts to wonder of like, hey, I wonder if I should start doing short videos on TikTok or Instagram, or how can I add this? Oh, that's right. I got to get the clothes. Boom. I lost the trail. It's like a trail you start to get on, and then you have all these distractions of things that you remember, or the stresses behind you, and you can't really think 100% clearly. It's not like you're just sitting in a chair, as the experience that I have here. Let me see if I can articulate this correctly. Once my chores are all done, I just focus on just that. I'm like, look, stop thinking about the videos and the next week's podcast shows and everything like that. Just go in there, knock it out like a Spartan. Wash dishes like Sparta, right? Clean the toilet, Sparta. Wash the truck, Sparta. Take care of all of these things. And once they're all done, and I have a list, I organize everything so I don't forget anything. Wash like tedious things. Wash the mirrors in the bathroom, the toilet, the sinks, all the tabletops, disinfect the floor, sweep the floors, all that kind of jazz there. And then once everything's done, it's done. Then I sit down on my couch. I grab my phone, I look at my list of things that I want to design for my videos or my podcasts. I don't have to worry about that anymore. So this is where I'd like to call cleaning the desk tactic. This is when you clean the desk every day. I learned this from a few billionaire people, where this is one of the traits they do in business, where if somebody called them, they go and sit down at their desk once a day, and they'll take care of all the calls. And like they said, I don't care who it is. Somebody called you, and it has related to business, whether it's a yes or a no. We call or let them know through email somehow we are not interested within 24 hours. If it's not that day, right, it comes in at noon, let's just say, because some things could be really hard. And I want you guys to just fit this into your life. Once something comes in like the mail, deal with it. At the end of the day, or no more than the next day, open everything up and get it all done. You got payments like credit card payments, things like that, stuff that you got to take care of. Make sure you get it, you're done at the spot, you go on with your life. Because what happens is we compile. We start to take, the mail is probably one of the best things. We start to take our bills and we start to just place them all, in stacks. And then we don't even organize them. You got coupons and all, so you got to go through all your mail. Next thing you know, you're sitting there for an hour, sorting things out. I think this can go two ways, where you can possibly sort things out as you're clearing the desk, walking from your mailbox, get your bills, whatever. If even people still get bills in the mail, it's not all digital. Place them all in a singular pile someplace that that maybe once a month or on the weekend or whatever, you're going to get to it. But to me, every day, every time there's those distractions, I guess is where I was going with this. I know that I had to pay that bill. I'm like, oh, don't forget to pay that bill. Well, you have your notes, the dialogue in my head. You can look at your notes and you won't forget. Okay, next, let's go on to our thought of what we want to do with our videos. I don't like working like that. I like the clear desk thing every single day. And this clears up the time and the space, I think, in your mind. Like for me, what I experience is now you're just kind of coasting and you're floating, and it's a very nice feeling because you're freed up in your mind. I think a lot of us don't understand a lot of the stresses. We can divert these for a while, right? Kind of like a druggie or an alcoholic drinking a beer to escape their problems, but there's a hangover in the morning and you're still going to have to pay, right? The rent's due. The dishes are due to be done, right? The Sparto didn't show up today. So no matter how much we keep pushing those things, I think that causes stress in our lives, and we keep sweeping things under the carpet to when our life, if we do that long enough, just compiles into this huge, giant rat's nest, this mess, this ball of yarn that you're like, at this point I have no idea. It's better to get rid of it, at some points you can't, than to start undoing the knots everywhere. But if we take things little by little and we start to whittle on that knot, if I don't, depending on how your life has been dwindled and messed up in those facts, keep working on it little by little, and eventually you will get it. The problem is to maintain these things and keep it that way, so that you don't clean up the yarn, you don't clean up the garbage, do a spring cleaning in your life, your house, your mental, your spirituality, everything. You don't let it compile up again. Once you keep everything running smooth, you're going to notice how that mind is freed up, and that when you are watching your show or enjoying a beverage, you're enjoying them 100%. You're completely present. I think that this is a disease. This is a real epidemic that we have going on with people, of the unhappiness and stresses and things like that, because we know each of us as individuals have a lot of these things. I know it's not like you'll just have a perfect world if you're doing what I'm insinuating here. It just makes life a lot more easier, and then it makes things a lot more manageable. So yeah, we get a bird's eye view of what's going on with our time and what we can do about it. And I just wanted to talk briefly here on one of my notes here is that the things you own end up owning you. So that's why I've chosen to live more of a minimalistic-ish life. I'm not full-blown into minimalism. I'm not full-blown into essentialism living. But one thing I do notice is that when you have such things as having to wash my truck every day, because I'm actually in sales and for my business, I got to sell. I wear all the hats, so I got to look clean. I got to wash my truck. So, dang, I got to wash those up. Then I started having things like my water heater. Unfortunately, I need hot water. But that's one more thing that I have to maintain. I need to run vinegar and things. So I need to learn how to maintain these things. I know how to fix and how to maintain a lot of stuff, but I've done my research. I've done my self-education for a very long time. So people sometimes wonder, well, how the heck did you learn how to do all these things? Well, I freed up time in my life, and then I started to do the audit. There's a lot of things I did. Stress audits, right? Where's all my stress coming from? I never know what's happening. I got to keep an eye. So I organize things by auditing and getting a bird's eye view of my life. Keep an eye on my tires. Let's mark something down to where if I rotate my tires, go in regularly, that's time saved, right? It's time from work, money that I have to make to buy new tires. Because I rotate them, they last maybe twice as longer. Because I change the anode thing inside of my water heater, which collects all the hard water deposits that freeze up so that they don't collect in the tank. I have to replace the whole entire water heater, right? All of these things that I do is because I've time managed, I've audited my life, and I looked at this, and I was able to, as I sat there happily, having that, not having a dog anymore, it gives me an entire 7 hours of time to just sit and do nothing. Well, I just started looking, how can I make my life easier? So, yeah, the things you own, they end up owning you. So one of the lessons I've learned is when doing time management, before you introduce anything new into your life, like a new pet, like a new coffee blender, right, or something, you want to look, a juicer, you want to look and say, do I have the space for this thing? What does it take to maintain this thing? What's the ROI? When's this going to return on investment pay me? Is this something good that I need? Or is it just going to be another thing in my way that when I'm cooking or cleaning, I got to move around, right? It's causing problems, taking more time out of my life, and sometimes even money. Does this thing going to help me? Does it make me happy? Is it completely necessary? Is it essential? Or is it going to mess me up? So things like that where... And I have one too. I'll give you guys a good example where my life's not perfect at all. I'm not saying that. I have a nice hydraulic juicer that presses the juice. I spent I think $1,000 or, oh my goodness, I can't remember. I think it was more. It might have been $4,000. But I bought this really, really nice juicer that'll last the rest of your life, and it's got lots of health benefits. It does many things I don't want to mention, but because it's so much work and I live in tiny spaces, I haven't actually been using it. So I know that it's good for my life, but it's now a salad shelf, right? I got it in the corner with a bunch of stuff I stack on top of it. I haven't used that thing in probably 6 months. So that's something that you would look at and go, you know what? I don't have the time. Maybe this is something I shouldn't introduce into my life now because now it's occupying space. So, yeah, I'm on a kicker. I think that's a part of this whole podcast, this whole show, is that doing things that I've shared with you guys today from my own life, doing this with my money. How much money can I make? What do I do when I get there? Can I take mini retirements, right? Because I've organized and audited my life in so many different ways, I'm able to take full control. I've designed my life, and I call it the alternative lifestyle design. It's an alternative to the lifestyle design that we actually currently have. When we look at it, a lot of people are doing the same thing. A lot of people are experiencing the same thing. A lot of stresses and happiness. They just don't have the time. I'm just busy. And what happens with those people, right? Where they're so busy, just get it out, tell me quickly in the shortest way possible so I can get on to the next thing. That's not very pleasant. It's not very friendly. It's not very comfortable. But when you have somebody who's managed their life and designed their life where they have the time to sit and go, well, tell me all about it, right? It's a lot more pleasant. So I've experienced so many things in my life where I'm able to manage my time, my money. Now I know, owning my own business, that I literally could work 7, 8, 9 months max is what I do a year. And I've been doing this for a very long time. And that's the inspiration that I have to share with other people, is that once you do these things, your life improves drastically. You want to lose weight, you want to exercise, you got the time now. You've got control of the money. You know how much you need per year, and if you stay in a budget and you manage those things, you got enough. Your expenditures all locked in for the rest of the year. You don't even have to think about it. You don't have all these extra things consuming all your time. So now you can go fishing, surfing, dancing, whatever it is that you want to do. So it's very important, I think, to design your life, to start working on these things. It's very inspiring for myself that I want this for my kids. I want this for other people who are interested. We don't have to live a stressful environment. It's mainly because we've all not organized ourselves and not taken the time to invest into ourselves on multiple levels. And I think we're in debt to ourselves to take care of these things so we can take care of ourselves and our children, to take care of our health, right, and our happiness, and manage things. Because that's the problem I see going on around with society, is that people are just so stressed out and so taxed, time taxed. I'd say time tax is a really good analogy, that They just don't have the time. The attention span is very short. The fuse is very short, and that's no way to live, guys. Life is short. You should be doing things the way you want. You live the way you want to live, living life on your own terms, and making the things happen that you want to happen. And that's what I'm here to help you with. So hopefully I have this evening. And if you like the show, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Everything's in the description below, all the links and all that. And talk to me. Let me know how I'm doing for you. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next show. Bye.